for school.
Okay, can we talk about that ending for a second? Because I swear, The Kissing Booth 3 didn't end like a normal movie. It ended like somebody was halfway through typing a text message, looked at the screen, smiled, and then just never hit send. Seriously, two motorcycles riding into the distance, awkward smiles, absolutely no clear answer, and then the credits roll like, yep, that's enough. Excuse me? Enough for who? Because fans have been sitting there ever since wondering what happened next. And honestly, after all these years, people still haven't moved on. The internet hasn't moved on. The fandom definitely hasn't moved on. Which is exactly why The Kissing Booth 4 keeps coming back into conversations. If you look at everything the trilogy left behind, it almost feels like the story is standing there with the door wide open, just waiting for someone to walk through it. Think about where everything stopped. After a 6-year time jump, Elle and Noah meet again at the charity fair. They aren't teenagers anymore. Life has clearly happened. Noah is wearing a suit, Elle has a completely different look, and suddenly they're talking like two people who have spent years apart but somehow still understand each other without saying much. Then Noah casually mentions that he has job offers in both New York and Los Angeles. Now come on, that doesn't sound like a random line at all. It feels like one of those details that's quietly placed there because it matters later. Then they smile, blush a little, get on their motorcycles, and ride away together. And that's it. No kiss, no dramatic confession, no "I've been waiting for you," nothing. Just enough to make everyone scream at their screens. Even Joey King explained to Variety that the ending was intentionally left open so viewers could paint their own picture, which is honestly a nice idea. Very artistic, very thoughtful. But when you've spent 3 movies emotionally investing in these characters, asking the audience to finish the ending themselves is also kind of dangerous. Fans don't just paint pictures, they build entire theories. What's even more interesting is that the book is just a little more direct. Noah actually calls their dinner plans a date. That single word never appears in the movie. The film stops just before giving everyone that little bit of certainty. And honestly, that's probably the biggest reason people still talk about a 4th movie. There's already a story sitting between that final motorcycle ride and whatever happened after. It wouldn't even need to invent drama from nowhere. The trilogy practically left an empty space waiting to be filled. Now here's something I actually find really interesting. Throughout most of the trilogy, Elle spent so much time making choices based on other people. Harvard because of Noah, Berkeley because of Lee. It always felt like somebody else's future was influencing hers. Then finally, in the 3rd movie, she chooses USC for video game design. That's the first decision that really belongs to her. Fast forward 6 years, and suddenly you've got an entirely different version of Elle. Instead of asking which college she should attend, she's probably asking much bigger questions. Who is she as an adult? What kind of career has she built? Has everything gone according to plan, or has reality been a little less kind than she expected? A 4th movie could explore that completely different phase of her life. Maybe she's working in the gaming industry. Maybe she's dealing with the pressures of an industry that demands constant creativity. Maybe she's successful. Maybe she's struggling. Maybe she's trying to build something of her own. That's honestly a much more mature story than simply asking who she's dating. And then there's Noah. Remember, by the end of the 3rd movie, he's graduated from Harvard Law and has job offers waiting in both New York and Los Angeles. Again, that feels important. Los Angeles is where Elle is. New York represents moving forward without her. It almost feels like the ending quietly asks the audience one final question. Where does Noah go? A 4th movie could easily begin with that decision. Maybe he chooses Los Angeles. Maybe Elle is somewhere in the back of his mind when he makes that choice. Not necessarily because he's chasing her, but because life has a funny way of bringing unfinished stories back together. And honestly, that's a far more interesting romance than high school love. The first trilogy focused on first love. A possible 4th movie could focus on something much harder. Choosing someone again after both of you have changed, because 6 years changes people. The people they were in high school probably aren't the people they are anymore. Can 2 adults reconnect after building separate lives? That's actually a pretty compelling question. But wait, there's another thing sitting quietly in the background. Lee and Rachel. They're engaged. It's mentioned almost casually during that reunion scene when Noah asks about the wedding, and immediately my brain goes, hold on. That wedding could literally become the heart of an entire fourth movie. Think about romantic comedies for a second. Weddings are absolute chaos. Family drama, old friends, awkward reunions, unresolved feelings, everyone pretending they're completely fine when absolutely nobody is fine. It's basically emotional popcorn. A wedding would naturally bring everyone back together. Lee and Rachel could finally have their big moment while balancing careers and adult responsibilities. Meanwhile, Elle and Noah would be forced into spending time together again. Old memories would come rushing back. And honestly, imagine if somebody rebuilt the kissing booth as part of the wedding reception or some charity event connected to it. Not because the plot desperately needs another kissing booth, but because that image already means something. It's where everything started. Seeing it again years later would instantly remind everyone how far these characters have come. Sometimes nostalgia works best when it quietly sits in the background instead of screaming for attention. Now let's talk about Marco, probably one of the most debated characters in the trilogy. At the end of the third movie, he leaves for New York to pursue music. Then, during the 6-year time jump, nothing. He's simply absent. Now that absence could mean several things. Maybe he just moved on with his life. That's honestly the cleanest interpretation. But fans have noticed that the movie never actually tells us. Some theories suggest the silence was intentional. Marco could reappear years later. Maybe he's become successful in music. Maybe he crosses paths with Elle somewhere in Los Angeles. That could naturally create romantic tension again without simply repeating the exact same story. Although, if I'm being completely honest, it might actually be more satisfying if Marco simply gets a respectful update. He's doing well, he's happy, he's moved forward, because the love triangle has already done its job twice. Doing it again could start feeling a little repetitive. Sometimes characters deserve a peaceful ending too. Then there's the actual kissing booth itself. It's funny because the entire franchise is literally named after it. That booth has practically become the symbol of everything. First kisses, broken rules, teenage emotions, the beginning of the entire story. By the third movie, it shows up again, but many people felt it didn't really have the same emotional impact. A fourth movie could probably use it differently. And then there's the business side of all this. Netflix has shown before that popular franchises sometimes get revisited when enough people continue watching them. The Kissing Booth movies performed extremely well on the platform despite receiving mixed critical reviews. The audience clearly existed, and judging by how often people still discuss these characters online, that audience hasn't exactly disappeared. Of course, there is one important challenge. The original books already ended with The Kissing Booth 3 one last time, so a fourth movie wouldn't have another novel to follow. It would need an original screenplay. Now that sounds difficult, but it also creates freedom. Instead of adapting existing pages, the writers could explore entirely new territory while keeping the emotional foundation of the trilogy intact. If that script ever comes together, one that treats everyone as adults instead of repeating old high school conflicts, it could actually become the strongest entry in the series. And that's why The Kissing Booth 4 remains such an interesting possibility. The ending left just enough unanswered questions to keep fans hoping that Elle and Noah's story isn't over. Now it's your turn. Do you think The Kissing Booth 4 should happen, or was the third movie the perfect ending? And if a fourth film does happen, what would you want to see? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more movie updates, theories, and first looks, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.